The characters along the DNA spine function like alphabetic letters, but what they're spelling, what they're causing to happen is the sequencing of amino acids, which in turn cause the proteins to fold and therefore produce a functional tool in the cell's toolkit. So information on DNA is transcribed, translated, and produces the functional outcomes, the protein machines that the cell needs to survive. So you've got a form of functional information, sometimes referred to as machine code or assembly instructions in the DNA molecule. Now, this is what I call the DNA enigma. And I said at the beginning of my book that Watson and Crick solved one part of that enigma. They solved the question of where biological information resides. It resides along the spine of the DNA molecule. They also helped us with the sequence hypothesis to understand what that information does. It directs the building of proteins, but their discovery raised another even more profound mystery. And that mystery is, where did that information come from? Where did it come from? Now, that's an important mystery for two reasons. First, because we know in our own digital world something about information and its importance. I actually used to ask my students, if you want to give your computer a new function, what do you have to give it? Software, code. Well, the same thing is true in life. If you want to build a new organism from an earlier, simpler organism, or if you want to build life in the first place from simpler chemicals, you have to arrange the parts in very particular ways to make functional organisms. To provide new biological function, you also need information. Same principle is in the software world. And that is a profound code is necessary to build new form and function in biology, just as it is in high technology. Now that raises creates a profound dilemma, because there's a question that scientists almost universally agree has not been solved by any materialistic theory of evolution. We can debate about whether Darwinian evolution is true or not, but I'm going to set that aside for tonight and look at a more fundamental issue. If you think of Darwin's great tree of life as representation of the history of life, all the things out on the branches, the giraffes and the dolphins and the birds and the fishes and us and plants, all of those things are the modern forms of life. But if you go back far enough, according to Darwin, you get to the simple organism that is the progenitor of all life. And he and other scientists have usually conceived of that as some kind of simple cell. Sometimes this is called amoeba to man evolution. That's not quite accurate, but you get the idea, okay? But the question that is raised by the recognition of the centrality of information is one, how do you make those transitions from one form to another, given that you need a lot of information, but to provide any new function, any new form? But an even more fundamental question, and which is the one I'll talk about now, is how do you get life in the first place? Life depends on information. DNA runs the show in even the simplest cell. It directs the construction of the proteins that even the simplest cells need to survive. So where did that information come from? Watson and Crick did not answer that question, but Crick in particular appreciated the gravity of the question.